imagine that there are many seniors out there who are feeling pretty good with just one more year to go. And I'm sure that many of you are also wishing that it was still summer and that you could have stayed in bed just 5 minutes longer.
I know that feeling. When I was young, my family lived in Indonesia for a few years. My mother didn't have the money to send me to the schools where all the American kids went. So she decided to teach me extra lessons herself, Monday through Friday, 4:30 in the morning.
I wasn't too happy about getting out that early. A lot of times I would fall asleep at the kitchen table, and my mom would give me that look like, I ain't happy either, you buster.
I know some of you are still adjusting to being back to school, but I'm here today because I have something important to discuss with you. I'm here to talk about your education and what's expected of you in this new school.
I've given a lot of speeches on education. I talked a lot about responsibility.
I've talked about your teacher's responsibility for inspiring you and pushing you to learn.
I've talked about your parents' responsibility for making sure you stay on track and get your homework done, and don't spend every waking hour in front of the TV with that Xbox.
I've talked a lot about your government's responsibility for setting high standards, supporting teachers and principals, and turning around schools that aren't working where students aren't getting the opportunities they deserve. But at the end of the day, we can have the most dedicated teachers, the most supportive parents, and the best schools in the world. And none of it will matter unless all of you fulfill your responsibilities. Unless you show up to those schools, pay attention to those teachers, listen to your parents, grandparents, and other adults, and put in the hard work it takes to succeed.
And that's what I want to focus on today, the responsibility each of you has to your education, the responsibility each of you has to yourself. Every single one of you has something you're good at. Every single one of you has something to offer. And you have responsibility to yourself to discover what that is. That's the opportunity and education can provide.
Maybe you could be a good writer, maybe even good enough to write a book or articles in a newspaper, but you might not know it until you write a paper for your English class. Maybe you could be an innovator or an inventor, maybe even good enough to come up with the next iPhone or a new medicine or vaccine, but you might not know it until you do your project for science class. Maybe you could be a mayor or a senator or a Supreme Court justice, but you might not know that until you join student government or the debate team.
And no matter what you do with your life, I guarantee that you will need an education to do it. You want to be a doctor or a teacher or a police officer? You want to be a nurse or an architect, a lawyer, or a member of our military? You're going to need a good education. Every single one of those careers. You can't drop out of school and just drop into a good job. You've got to work for it, and you've got to train for it.
And this isn't just important for your own life and your own future. What you make of your education will decide nothing less than the future of this country. What you're learning in school today will determine whether we as a nation can meet our greatest challenges in the future.
Problem-solving skills regarding science and math to cure diseases like cancer and AIDS, and to develop new energy technologies and protect our environment. You'll need the insights and critical thinking skills you gain in history and social studies to fight poverty and homelessness, crime and discrimination, and make our nation more fair and more free. You'll need the creativity and ingenuity you developed in all your classes to build new companies that will create new jobs and boost our economy.
We need every single one of you to develop your talents, skills, and intellect so you can help solve our most difficult problems. If you don't do that, if you quit on school, you're just quitting on yourself. You're quitting on your country.
Now, I know it's not always easy to do well at school. I know a lot of you have challenges in your lives that can make it hard for you to focus on your schoolwork.
So I wasn't always as focused as I should have been. I did some things I'm not proud of and got in more trouble than I should have, and my life could have easily taken a turn for the worse. But I was fortunate. I got a lot of second chances and had the opportunity to go to college and law school and follow my dreams. My wife, our First Lady Michelle Obama, had a similar story. Neither of her parents had gone to college and they didn't have much, but they worked hard and she worked hard so that she could go to the best school in the country. Some of you might not have these advantages. Maybe you don't have adults in your life who give you the support that you need. Maybe someone in your family has lost their job and there's not enough money to go around. Maybe you live in a neighborhood where you don't feel safe or have friends who are pushing you to do things you know aren't right.
But at the end of the day, the circumstances of your life, what you look like, where you come from, how much money your family has, your family problems, that's no excuse for neglecting your homework. That's no excuse for having a bad attitude, or talking back to your teacher, or cutting class, or dropping out of school. That's no excuse for anything.
That's why today I'm calling on each of you to set your own goals for your education and do everything you can to meet them. Your goal can be something as simple as doing all your homework, paying attention in class, or spending time each day reading a book. Maybe you'll decide to get involved in an extracurricular activity or volunteer in your community. Maybe you'll decide to stand up for kids who are being teased or bullied because of who they are or how they look. Because you believe, like I do, that all kids deserve a safe environment to study and learn. Maybe you'll decide to take better care of yourself so you can be more ready to learn. And along those lines, I hope you'll all wash your hands a lot and stay home from school when you don't feel well, so we can keep people from getting the flu this fall and winter. Whatever you resolve to do, I want you to commit to it. I want you to really work at it.
I know that sometimes you get the sense from TV that you can be rich and successful without any hard work, that your ticket to success is through rapping or basketball or being a TV star. But chances are you're not going to get any of those.
But the truth is, being successful is hard. You won't love every subject you study. You won't click with every teacher. Not every homework assignment will seem completely relevant to your life right this minute, and you won't necessarily succeed at everything the first time you try.
That's okay. Some of the most successful people in the world are the ones who have failed the most times. J.K. Rowling's first book was rejected 12 times before it was finally published, and Michael Jordan got cut from his high school basketball team. He lost hundreds of games and missed thousands of shots. But he once said, "I failed over and over again, and that's why I succeed."
These people succeeded because they understood that you can't let your failures define you. You have to let them teach you. You have to let them show you what to do differently next time. If you get in trouble, that doesn't mean you're a troublemaker. It means you need to try harder to behave. If you get a bad grade, that doesn't mean you're stupid. It just means you need to spend more time studying.
Don't be afraid to ask questions. Don't be afraid to ask for help when you need it. I do it every day. Asking for help isn't a sign of weakness, it's a sign of strength. It shows how you have the courage to admit when you need help, when you need to know something that you don't know, and to learn something new. So find an adult you trust, your grandparents, your teacher, your counselor, anybody, and ask them any questions that you need to help you get to your goal.
And even when you're struggling, even when you're discouraged, and you feel like other people have given up on you, don't ever give up on yourself. Because when you give up on yourself, you give up on your country.
The story of America isn't about people who quit when things got tough. It's about people who kept going when things got hard, and who loved their country too much to do anything less than their best.
Story of students who sat where you sit 200 years ago and went on a wage a revolution and found this nation. Students who sat where you sit 75 years ago, who overcame a depression and won a world war, who fought for the civil rights and the man on the moon. Students who sat there you sit 20 years ago, who found Google, Twitter, Facebook, and changed the way we communicate with each other.
So today I want to ask you, what is your contribution going to be? For many years to come, what will the president think of what you have done for our country?
Your families, your teachers, and I are doing everything we can to make sure you have the education to solve your questions. I'm working hard to fix up your classrooms and get you the books, equipment, and computers you need to learn. But you've got to do your part too. I expect you to get serious this year. I expect you to put your best effort into everything you do this year. I expect great things from each of you this year. So don't let us down. Don't let